Here are four gotchas or issues that people have with the interface. So first one that I've noticed is that the ribbon itself usually displays with all of the options available. If you've been clicking on buttons discovering what things are doing, you may well have clicked on this button, which changes the display of the ribbon. So you see that it's actually a sequence of options, that you can have just the tabs, or you can have the whole ribbon, or you can have the name of the tab and then access the name of the panel and then access the command underneath it, like build wall. Or you could have just the name of the tab, so you get the name of the panel. The panels are called build, model, circulation room area. So it's how they're displayed on the top. The idea being that maybe as you get more proficient, you might want to just keep this to a minimum to give you as much real estate as possible, and then maybe even like type in commands like WA for wall, and go in and draft walls, that kind of thing. You don't need to be using the window always fully expanded, but if you have changed it, and I'm calling out commands, it's a good idea to keep it with all of the panels displayed so you can see what I'm picking and where I'm picking it. The other issue that you might run into is that it's very common to pick where you're drafting. If you were drafting in the site view, you set that up first. If you were drafting in the ground view, you set that up first. But because the names are the same, usually for the levels or in the project, it's not uncommon for somebody to pick accidentally on the ceiling plan ground level instead of the floor plan ground level. Now the ceiling plan has a plane at about 7'6" looking up, or not looking up, but showing the reflection of the ceiling at a height of I think about 7'6". Now what that means is that if I was in that view and I'm drawing a wall, and say that wall is about 6 feet high, so it's not coming up to where the wall is above the ground plane, where the reference plane is at the 7'6" height. If I click in here, I'm not going to see the wall because it's too low, and I'm going to get a message that's kind of alarming. None of the created elements are visible in the reflected ceiling plan view. Now if I hit escape to get out, if I go back to my ground level, you'll see that actually all it was telling me was that if this wall was only 6 feet high, I'm not going to see it in the ceiling plan level. Now, most people just don't only draw like the ceilings in the ceiling plan, things that you want to see, but because the names are the same, it's very easy to pick the wrong one to draft in. But you can see that the warning message was really just telling you exactly what was happening, that the walls aren't displayed because they're not on a ceiling plan cutting through the cut plane, which is at about 7'6". Let me just check the position of the cut plane. If I go to view range, edit, no, it was 6 feet in that particular view. So if I set that to 7 feet, you see how the reflected ceiling plan is showing what's available at 7 feet height reflected from the ceiling. I'll change that back to 6 feet. Okay, a third option that people have run into is accidentally turning off something like the properties palette. You can get it back by saying PP. That's the fast key to get it back. PP turn it on, PP turn it on. The other way you can control what's on your interface is to go to the View tab, User Interface, and you'll see a checkbox opposite the ones that are switched on. So if Property Palette was off or Property Palette was on, you can control it from Project Browser on, off, Project Browser on. The last thing would be in creating objects like floors, right? So for example, going to my floor plan, it would be the correct view to be drafting in. And I want to put a floor in this area. The problem's not in creating the floor. The problem is that you go into an editing state, and should you leave the editing state by navigating away, you can somehow get into a fix. So if I go architecture, floor, I'm in an editing state because I can see my context menu is saying I'm creating a floor boundary, and I've either got to finish that state by saying finish or cancel. So if I draw here, if I draw the position of my floor in the building, I'm going to hit the escape key because I'm finished drawing the sketch. If I were to, while in editing mode, if I were to navigate away to go look for something, say I'm thinking of looking for a dimension, something that I want to draft, you can see that most of the interface is grayed out and you can't pick it. And it's because you were in the middle of the editing state. So to recover from it, you go back to the tab that says create floor boundary, and then you either have to cancel or accept to take that two-dimensional sketch and turn it into a three-dimensional floor object.